Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me for Art with Miss Myra. This is Thursday, March 19th, and I'm so happy that you all have joined me today. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about weaving, and we're going to dive into the wonderful world of weaving. And with weaving, you can do so much. So I wanted to show you a couple of examples of some things today. And I first wanted to show you this example of this little loom. This is a hand-made loom, and it's been made out of PVC pipe. And we're going to talk today about different kinds of looms, and we're going to talk about things that you can use as looms. The loom that we're going to be weaving on today is of course, as I referenced yesterday, it is a cardboard loom, but you can actually use, I've seen people use like a picture frame, or like I said, you can, if you have the materials to build something like this, you could do like a little PVC loom, and you're just basically making a frame. Okay, and so we're going to talk about the different aspects of weaving today. We're going to talk about the warp and the weft. And the warp is the vertical strings that go up and down, and the weft is what we are weaving with, and we're going horizontally. So we're going the opposite way, and there's a special technique that we're going to be using and stuff when we're doing this, okay? But I'm going to explain all of that to you. But I wanted to show you this. This is one of the little looms that I have. This is one that I do little tapestries on. And you can see I've started a little project in this, but I'm not finished with this one. But that's an example of something that you can do. And then I wanted to show you an example of a finished project. And this is a scarf that was done on a floor loom. So this was a much bigger loom, and it was something that was done, and you can just see the intricate detail of all of the different yarns that were used in this. And so it's just kind of a neat project. And once you learn how to do the basic technique of weaving, you can take that and you can do a lot of things. But let's get started with our project today. I told you yesterday that we were going to need a piece of cardboard that I wanted you, if you're a young child out there and stuff, I wanted you to get some help to do this. I wanted you to cut a piece of cardboard, just any piece of cardboard. If you've got a cardboard box in your house, go ahead and take a piece of just legal size paper and lay it out on your board, and then cut around the cardboard and stuff. And that's how you're going to get the little loom that you're going to make, and that is what we are going to weave on today, okay? So once you get that done, and I'll tell you, it's actually easier. This is why I want you to get a little bit of help if you're a young child. We should all be helping our young kids to do this, okay? Because it's actually easier to use a knife to cut out the cardboard and stuff than it is the scissor. It's really hard to cut out cardboard with scissors and stuff. And I've done a lot of these, so I'll just give you that little pointer. So when we get done and we've got our cardboard loom cut out, which is, again, just a legal size piece of paper. That's what the size is going to be. You're going to take and you're going to make marks on it. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I've made marks on this. Okay, and I've measured out 9. So for this piece, I've measured out 9 different notches, 9 different lines, okay? And we always want an uneven number. We don't want an uneven number, because when we're doing our weaving and we're going over, under, we don't want to end up and have an even number, because it won't work out and stuff with weaving. So once we get our lines drawn on, then you can just take your scissor, not your fabric scissor, but just a regular scissor, and you're just going to cut a little notch just a little tiny waist, not an inch, probably about a half an inch. You're going to take and you're just going to notch out, cut notches, and you're going to end up with something that looks like this. Okay, I have notches cut here and I have notches cut here on the top and the bottom. All right, so now if you have yarn available, you can use yarn, but if you don't have yarn available, and this is something that I showed you guys how to make yesterday, we can take and make t-shirt yarn. Okay, and how we do that is we take a t-shirt and we lay it out flat, and we're going to cut off the sleeves. Okay, so you cut across on the sleeves and you cut off the bottom band, and then you take and you cut strips from side to side about this wide of t-shirt material, and you get strips of t-shirts. And then when you get them, you're going to take them and you're going to stretch them. Okay, and when you stretch them, you end up with something that looks like this. And this is kind of a yarn. It's t-shirt yarn. That's what it is. So, but that's what we're going to end up with. And so that's what we're going to use today, because I realize that not everybody probably has yarn at home, and that's okay, because we can make our own yarn that we're going to do our project with. So what we're going to do and stuff to start out our weaving project is we are going to, after we've prepped our loom and gotten that all ready, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do what is called dressing the loom. And we're going to put on the warp of our loom, on this loom, like I showed you. That's the vertical strings, or the vertical yarn that goes up and down, and that is what we are going to weave into. So that is what we are going to do for our first step. And so I'm just going to take, and all I did here is I took 2 pieces of my t-shirt strips of my t-shirt yarn, and I went ahead and I joined them together. And I'm going to show you guys again how to do that when we get a little bit further down, okay? But we're going to join them together, and I just had to join together two strips. And then I'm going to want to start at the top on the, if it's facing you, it's going to be the left-hand side, okay? And I'm going to just go ahead and put it in that first notch. Now on the back, I want to leave a little tail about like this, okay? So when I start dressing this loom, I went ahead and put it on, and I realized that looks a little bit funny on the camera and stuff. So I'm trying to tell you, when you're looking at it, it's going to be your upper left-hand side. You're going to want to start there, put it in the first notch, then go down to the corresponding notch on the bottom. So bottom left, make a straight line, and then just go over to the next, go in that next loop that's right beside it, or the next notch that's right beside it, and then go up, put our yarn in there, and then go over to the next notch, excuse me, and go down. And we're just going to go all the way across to like this. So it's up, down, or up, well, it would be down, and then over, and then up, over, down, over, up, over, down, over, up, over, down, up, over, and down. All right. So we have now dressed our loom, and we are ready to start weaving. And how I want to do this on the end, now I ended up with this pretty long tail. Remember, this is my tail from the beginning. So I'm going to just take those 2 tails, and I'm going to go ahead and tie them together just loosely, because I'm going to have to untie this when I'm all done. Okay, I'm going to have to untie this. So I don't want to have it to be a tight knot, okay? So that is what our loom is going to look like when it is dressed with the warps. Okay, and so now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to start doing our weft, doing our weaving across. Okay, so for this, I'm going to take one of my blue t-shirt yarns, okay, and again, I'm going to want to start on the left. When this is facing me, I'm going to want to start on the left bottom corner, okay? And all I'm going to do here is, it's very easy, but it's a very important step. If you don't do it and stuff, you're going to have problems on the end. You're going to want to just go under this. So you put your little yarn underneath that. And you're going to want to leave a little bit of a tail, about this much of a tail, okay? Because that is going to be woven in at the end so we can hide it. And then you're just going to want to tie that on. And you're going to want to tie that pretty tight, okay? So now I have something that looks like this. I have my little tail over here, and I have my working yarn right here, and that's what I'm going to start with. Now this would be considered an over, all right? So I'm going to do this kind of backwards for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. This is considered an over. So our next one, we're going to go under. And we're just going to pull all the way through. And we're just going to lay that flat. We don't want to start stretching that a lot, okay? Because if we do, we're going to have problems at the end, okay? So we're just going to leave that, just lay in there just nice and flat, how it was. So now we have an over and an under. So now we're going to go over, and then we're going to go under. Over, under, over, under, and then our last one is going to be an over, okay? And so now we're going to want to turn the corner, okay, so to speak, and we're going to want to, this one that we have gone over, we're going to want to go under him for the second row, all right? And now, this is really an important step. Now, when I went that way, when I started my second row, I could have just yanked on that and pulled that over, but then we're going to end up with kind of an hourglass-shaped weaving project, and we don't want that. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to very carefully stick my index finger in here, and I'm going to make sure that I have just a little bit of room in there, a little bit of wiggle room. We don't want to tighten it up really tight. So because my first one was an under, my next one's going to be an over. My next one after that will be an under. And I'm just kind of squishing that down so, you know, one row is right on top of the other. Then over, under, over, under, over, and under. All right. So now I have 2 rows that have been completed. So when I get to that next row, it's just like the one that I just did. When I turn the corner on that, I'm going to want to make sure that I leave just a little bit of room. So I'm going to want to put my index finger in here so I don't pull it too tight. And because this was an under, how I ended up on the second row, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this an over on that row, okay? But let's leave our little finger in there and stuff because we've got to, leave that little bit of wiggle room so we're not doing it too tightly. Okay, our next one's going to be an under, then over, under, over, under, over, under, And then, like I said, we want to, when we do each row, we want to make sure and kind of scrunch it down and make sure that the rows are kind of condensing and stuff. We want to make sure that they're nice and tight. Like on this tapestry, excuse me, on this tapestry, you can see I've squished them down and made sure that they were nice and tight. I've talked a lot this morning already, so I need to take a drink of ginger ale. So, all right. So now I'm not at the end of this, but I just want to show you what we're going to do when we come to the end of our t-shirt yarn, and how we're going to join those two pieces of t-shirt yarn. So it's very simple. All we're going to do is we're going to take just a little bit at the end, probably about 1/2 inch, and fold that over, and then you're going to make just a little notch. And the notch is going to be about like this. That's about the size notch that I want you to make, okay? And so on the piece that we are joining, we're going to want to do the same thing. We're going to take and just fold over just a little bit, and then go ahead and make our notch. And the one that we are joining, we want to have go underneath, you know, on the bottom of the one that we are joining to, okay? So now we're going to take that at the very end, and at the very end, we're just going to go ahead and feed that through, and then pull it, and just going to give it a little tug. And you can kind of fix it so it looks a little bit more pretty. But you're just going to want to tie it like that, join it like that, okay? So that makes a nice firm join that's not going to come apart. And when you get done weaving, you're not going to see that little part. Like you see this little part right here and stuff, you're not going to see that. You're going to be able to tuck that in. So don't even worry about that, okay? So now, this is row 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4. And so we're going to go ahead, and we ended up with an over. So the really important thing about weaving is this. You do the opposite of what you have done. When you're on a new row, you're going to do the opposite of what you have done the previous row. So if you have done an over on, you know, row, let's say 15, when you get to row 16 and you have that over on row 15, you're going to want to do an under, okay? And that's how we get things to lay flat with weaving. And that's how it works. So, okay, so because we did an over, remember, I'm going to put my finger in here so we don't pull too tight. And then, because we've done an under, we now have an over, then we have another under. And an over and an under. And we're going to want to just go ahead and fill our whole entire loom like this, okay? We're going to want to go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do, because I think you guys get the idea, this is a pretty simple project and it goes together pretty quick. But instead of you guys sitting here and watching me do this, I'm going to stop the video and I will post something a little bit later today, probably in, let's say at noontime, mountain time. I'll post another video and I will just give you an update, and then I will show you how to finish this project out and take it off of your loom. And so you have a nice piece of fabric that you can maybe like lay on your dresser. If you have a pretty vase that you want to put on your dresser, it would protect your dresser, you know, and stuff from that vase. Or if you want to, maybe you want to make a whole bunch of these and make some placemats for mom or grandma. You know, that would be an idea too and stuff. You could make them, you could make a loom that's a little bit bigger, or even this size would be okay. And you can make placemats. So, but there's a lot of different things that you can do. If you did a longer loom, you could do a scarf. So there's lots of different ideas, but I wanted to give you guys the simple techniques on how to do weaving, because that is, just like I said, it's something fun to do, and it's something that you can do a lot with later. So, but if you want to tune back in at noontime Mountain Time, I will give you an update, and then I'll show you how to take our project off of the loom. And so then you'll have your finished piece and it'll be ready to go. So thank you all for joining me. I'm going to mention one other thing. I decided last night that I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel. And so it would be more easily, you know, available for people to tune in. They wouldn't have to go on Facebook, maybe if some people don't have Facebook and stuff. So I'm going to be working on that this afternoon to go ahead and get a YouTube channel started. And it is going to be Art with Miss Myra. And I hope that you guys all tune into that. So, and I'll just continue posting lessons every day until the public school kids go back into school. And we'll just keep going and keep having fun. Tomorrow is Fun Friday. And so when you tune back in for the update on the loom and how to take our things off of the loom, I will go ahead and give you the list of things that we will need to do our project on Fun Friday, and I hope that y'all join me back. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.